more about Ukrainian like talents market, because talents market is pretty great part of Ukrainian tech stage because we have great developers and actually Ukrainian reputation in Europe mostly built on our talent skills. And today we will have great speakers from talents market in Ukraine who are running their companies, who are doing recruitment in Ukraine, and they can share more information about the market and what we have. And actually, I want to introduce Anna Mazur, who is the founder and CEO of Happy Monday. It's a media platform in Ukraine, especially for creative industry and tech specialties as well. And they are one of the most active in Ukraine. Pretty new but growing platform, and they know a lot about the market. And actually, I want to introduce Anna and give space for her. And I hope you will share more information and give us more insights about hiring in Ukraine.
I will try at least. Thank you very much, Rodrigo and Kirill. Just one organizational question. Do you see the presentation right now? Can I start with it?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm once again happy to be here. So thank you for this kind of introduction. I have no idea what Rodrigo said before, but I will try to meet those expectations. Yeah, I just call this day a talent day, and I'm not sure that you can read what is there on the slide, but you probably know this show of whatever country has talent. So this one is about Ukraine. So Ukraine definitely got talent, and I hope that you will find out more about the topic during the day today. First of all, I want to explain more of how I decided to build this day. So we are going to meet 5 bright individuals today. I will start with about 20 minutes with general overview of what is labor market in Ukraine, what we have here, some kind of labor ethics, mentality, mindset, skill sets, so something that can give you general understanding of labor market. Then at about 10 minutes to 4, I invited 2 amazing girls who actually run one of the best and most effective recruitment agencies in IT market here. And they're actually going to ask whatever questions you have about development, about recruitment of developers. As far as I guess, that's one is this kind of hot topics, and actually about the salary overview, process overview, whatever you have questions about this kind of recruitment and other markets as well, you can ask them. And the last part is like the small panel discussion where I invited 2 guys who actually decided to start business in Ukraine, Andreas and Vladislav. Andreas started Beetroot, it's the IT outsourcing company. I guess they're working about like 10 years already in Ukrainian market. So he saw how it evolved and what is actually happening right now and what is the difference between like past development of enterprise in Ukraine and what's going on right now. And Vladislav, they actually like recently had to move their business to Ukraine. So it's kind of this recent experience, which also I hope will be valuable for you. So let's start with general things from my side. And one more thing about the organization part. If you have whatever questions in any part of my speech and other speech, like please write them in the chat. I will stop, or I will say that we will have time afterwards to discuss about that, or I will have it further in my speech. So I'm really here, and the girls and guys will be there also to give you like the most valuable information and answer your questions. So for us, it will be really valuable if you can ask what is here like important to you. To start with, actually, I decided to make this kind of brief, quite important information about what's going on in the labor market. And first, I guess the most interesting topic is about the salaries. So what we have here is a huge difference in salaries between those people who actually are working on internal Ukrainian market and those who are able to work for international market and find work and companies which are outside or have market outside of Ukraine. So minimal legal salary in Ukraine actually is below $200, which is, I guess, it's quite low amount of money to get. And actually we had this rise of minimal legal salary from the beginning of this year. So it was even lower before. So now it's like high level. But if we'll talk about tech specialists and those people who are able to work in international market, their salary is like 10 times higher. So actually, like Viktoriya and Maria, they will talk about what is happening on their like salary average level right now, and it's totally different. So it's this level of average is really can be different from 300 to 100 to $25,000 for different fields and spheres of interest of industry. So that's what you have to understand. And depending on what professionals you are going to look in Ukrainian market, it will be totally different. So probably you will need some kind of advice and consultancy on field, depending where you want to go and what exactly you want to do. And one more thing that I need to tell you before we'll go into the labor market is actually about companies who are coming to Ukraine and those who are working here with technical market. It's about a month. Yeah, so a month or a week, it's month's salary. So yep, that's what I wanted to show you from the beginning, just to get this understanding of the difference and what we have right now. And the second part is about legal side. So the thing here is we definitely have legal part about employment, and it's quite similar to many European countries. But what difference we have here and what different a lot of companies use is actually they're trying to work not with like legal employment, but work with individuals. So when individuals are set as individual entrepreneurs and they have this contract between company and individual entrepreneurs. And about 90% of tech and digital talents today, maybe even more, are working in this kind of scheme. That's why it's a bit more flexible for them. So it's about definitely taxes and also opportunity to start and stop these contracts and to be able to like put to the project and put out of the project. So it's what is giving a lot of flexibility and opportunities to their companies and people who want to work with talents here, and that's this kind of scheme is used really regularly. Although I also must say that now on the government level there are a lot of transformational process about the thing, so they're thinking about other ways how to make it and how to put it back to the legal employment. So we will see what is going to happen in the recent years, but now that is a model which is used for most kinds of companies, those who are coming to Ukrainian market, and those who actually even operating here and started business here. One more interesting fact is definitely about the English level. So it's still a big difference inside the country and among the people here. So generally, if to talk about all population of Ukraine, we have quite low proficiency of English here. So we are in some kind of rating about on 49th place. And I would say that Ukrainians speak bad English if they actually speak it at all. So if you will go just not in Kyiv, but in other like cities, I would say about less than 20, even 15% of population are actually can communicate and speak English. But if we will look on this tech field and those professionals who are like decided to work internationally, 70% of developers and digital talent, they actually speak from intermediate to upper intermediate level of English. So I would say that youth here and those people who do understand this kind of difference in salaries are amazing motivator for people actually to learn English and to look for international opportunities in Ukraine and outside of Ukraine, and actually to work with international market. That's what you also have to understand, because if you will look for some kind of talent in finance or in agriculture or in creative industries, English may be a problem. So it's something that we're still struggling, and we are working on a national level about the level of English generally. In tech field, it's more or less like about good communication side, but generally it's still something that you have to take into consideration. One more thing is about like labor laws. So what we have here is probably the same, I don't know, but the same I hope that like you're used to. It's about 40 hours per week workload. So we have 5 days we are working from Monday to Friday and 2 days like days off. Also, like I found this kind of picture where it says that we are in the middle type countries about the number of public holidays. Although being a private entrepreneurs, I do think that we have a lot of private holidays in Ukraine, but maybe that's my perspective because I want to work more. Although it says that in general, if we're looking on the European map, that we have like about 11, 13 the minimal level of 10 public holidays in year, which makes us like one kind of advantage for the for taking the working opportunities here. One more thing is about vacation. So if we are talking about legally employed person, it is obligatory to have 24 paid vacation days per year. Still, I'm making step back about this kind of that it is less than 10% of legal employment. Most of the companies are working with this individual entrepreneurs where it is more flexible and you can actually set it in the way it is comfortable and in the way you will negotiate it with a person in, like himself or itself. And about the standard working hours, it's actually like this this kind of thing that you can see on the slide. Although people here are quite open for flexible working hours. So if they're working with American time zone, like I have personally friends who starting to work at 4 p.m. and actually finishing at 10. So they are more or less flexible in order to get this opportunity to work with international markets, once again, because of the salary difference. Living cost. Okay, I will try to. So some kind of mentality and work ethics. So I just put a few things that maybe can be interesting about their how are people here in Ukraine. Probably one of the things that I would focus is about hardworking and creativity side. Once again, we have here a lot of motivation to actually find this kind of opportunities outside of Ukraine. So it's definitely about doing work good and find these opportunities to work and to grow quite fast and have a lot of motivation about that. About the emotional part, that's probably what I also wanted to put into your understanding. I would say that most people who are working in this tech field and digital field, which is more connected to tech science, they're quite reserved and distanced from the first impression. So probably for you, it may be something that you need to know if starting to work with Ukrainians as a team members. So from the first sight, we can be like quite closed, but it's more about getting to know each other and starting to work together. So still like be prepared, but know that it's just from the first sign, then it's definitely changing. And what else? It's probably about this. Mainly Ukrainians are eager to know more like details and requirements because we most of all get used to that somebody is there to tell what to do. So from the beginning of whatever teamwork, probably more details are needed to start to work closely with Ukrainians in the team. What else? Yep, it's about the skill set generally. So I would say it's more about the soft skills. What I would like to put here on the first side, it's about drive, motivation, learning capacities, and independence. All of these things are coming from, once again, this a lot of motivation for our people to learn English and to work with international opportunities. That's why it's a lot of drive and motivation to find this good opportunity and take it seriously. We're like quite fast learners here, so we try to be on the trendy side, understand what is going on the market. And it's a lot about independence because we are actually responsible for what we are doing here. And you can most of the times rely on what teams here are doing and like expect quite high volume of responsibility and final result. What else can be? It's about effective communication, but I would say it's more about English level and opportunity to communicate from our people here, which are eager to work. But still, I would say that effective communication from the soft skill side, it's quite something that from my personal point of view, we are still struggling a bit because we're here a bit of upfront and saying things as we think they are and quite like may sound quite rude from the beginning, but it's not about the rude side of people, it's just the way how we used to communicate, which is not that soft and delicate as maybe other nations are. And fairness and teamwork is something that I would also say is quite strong side of Ukrainians. So I also put a bit of information about technical degrees that you can just see that we have a lot of tech talent because we have a lot of universities and opportunities here. So that's just something that you probably understand, few statistics to find out. And also interesting slide and statistics I found out is about main countries we are now working on as expert export of talent. So that's the main market where Ukrainians are working with. So for now, we don't have Brazil here. I hope that it will be put in this list soon with help of our mission today. And the last part I want to show you in order to know if you would love to hire somebody from Ukraine, where to go and where to look for. So we have main platforms and main job boards, which is Работа.ua and Work.ua. They are national, they are huge. So it's about like 15 million visits per month that they got. And it will work for you if you're looking for some kind of mass recruitment for entry or middle position, for non-tech professionals, and mainly for regional search of people. So if it is not Kyiv, this kind of platforms will mainly work for you. So if you're interested, that's something you should make research on. If we talk about tech candidates, main platforms are actually this one. I put here that they're effective for entry level, junior, and middle level. That's actually the reason why this kind of things I put here is girls after me would explain, but mainly this middle and senior level of professionals right now, they're not looking for the job. They are getting a lot of offers, and that's the only way to work with them and to find them is mostly with some kind of providers, recruitment agencies here. So if you're looking for some kind of entry level, you can go to the platform. But if you're looking for like seniority teams, you definitely would need help from local representatives here. One more thing about the Genie, the one that they actually have a really good tool about the salaries. And I tried to translate it with Google Translate, and actually it works pretty well. So if you want to examine salaries in Ukraine in tech market, that's the tool I would recommend you to look for. It is still quite average, so it may not show the real result, which is now, but I'm seeing that Viktoriya is joining, so probably she will tell you more up-to-date information about salaries as well. Our platform, so yep, you saw that I'm CEO of Happy Monday, would help you with the creative professionals for now. So we have quite a lot national and capital people who are set it in Kyiv about digital market professions, designers, communication specialists, like this project, customer support, account managers. Those are non-tech professionals, which actually our platform can help you with. If you would love to find somebody like that, actually knowing my audience, they are so eager to look for international companies and opportunities to work with English level that actually I will hope that we will be helpful from that part of thing. One more specialty I would say about Ukrainian market and instruments where to look for talent is for now we have quite diverse tools and instruments, and one of really popular messenger, I don't know if you heard about it, but here in Ukraine it is really popular. It's Telegram, and it's some kind of messenger where you have separate channels, like news channels, for which you can sign and then like got this kind of information about separate industry and whatever it is interesting for you. And for now we have a lot, just like totally a lot. I would say more than 200, 300, I would never know the number. This kind of small communities which are industry based, where you can look for individuals, pretty high talents, and the opportunity to go directly to this kind of small community where you can look for right talent. So definitely it would be difficult to understand where to go if you are like outside of the country, but if you would have some kind of specific request, I would really love to help. I put here my one channel that I personally love. It's about marketing, media specialists, and designers, where you can go and look for people, but there are many, many more. If you would love to and would have specific questions, I would definitely recommend some. And the last slide I already said to you, it's about like some kind of proficiency, seniority, and executive search. Mainly, you won't be able to find it, from my personal opinion, on the open market and from these instruments I told you before. It's more that you will need help of local providers, recruitment agencies, and the headhunters. We have a lot of demand for Ukrainian talent right now from different players outside and inside. That's why actually for now, I would say we struggling with this kind of how to find and what to do, what is the action plan in order to find the right person for you. I guess that's my last slide. So other one is about Viktoriya. but I saw if there are some kind of questions, probably I would take time to answer.
Yeah, there's one asking about living costs in relation to the salaries. I think that's an important one.
Maybe I would also ask Kirill for help to answer this one, because still it is quite hard for me to answer because of this difference in salary level, because there are people who are able to live for this kind of, I won't say $200, but I think the average is 600, 700 is what mainly people outside of Kiev are capable to live on, and that is like normal level, I would say. If we would take Kiev, I guess it's starting from 1,000. That is still like more or less for general level, although people are still like having salary less. For people like tech people and developers, I heard some kind of idea that it's impossible to live like for salary lower than 2,000, and there are still people who are thinking that it is impossible in Ukraine. So if we will take this legal information, I would say that like 600 is something that is livable. But if you will go to specific communities, their opinion would be totally different. Kirill, maybe you will say your point of view here.
Oh, I think it really depends. Ukrainian developers, pretty interesting people sometimes. So I can say that I think it's live for 1,000 is pretty okay. I know foreigners who are pretty happy that they can spend not so much money in Ukraine, but you can count on it. But of course, we have people who live on and spend who earn $400 and they live. They can eat. They can't travel actually. They can't spend for some entertainment, but it's still okay just to eat and to do something. So if you want to like combine and to understand how much money do you need.
Yeah, that's it. I see one question about freelancers. Yes, actually, if you have part-time or remote work and you're looking for like graphic designers and game designers, I guess HappyMonday would be valuable here as a platform. Okay, so I guess we can move forward. I saw that Viktoriya already joined. I'm not sure if Marina did, but Viktoriya.
I think so, because I've seen some names popping up here.
Okay.
Yeah, she's here.
Probably
hello guys. Do you see me? Sorry. Hello guys. Sorry, I'm in Mexico right now. You know, remote work is so remote. So
you're closer to them than we are here, right?
Yeah, very exactly. True. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Really nice to meet you. Sorry for interruption with connection. Unfortunately, I can't influence on it. Sometimes it just dropped. Anya, thanks a lot for invitation. Maybe I wouldn't say so many pleasant news like you say, because of the salaries and now the Ukrainian market going completely crazy. But anyway, I will say the truth. As you know, I always say the truth, even if it's
that's why I invited you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I want to introduce my colleague Marina. She's our recruitment lead. She's ex-director of Viber. So yeah, just like Anna said, yeah, I think almost everyone knows Viber. But okay, Marina, I think she's going to join right now. Okay, guys, let me just say some important things about Ukrainian market right now. It's dramatically changed from last 2 months. And actually, it's all about Ukraine, that everything can be dramatically changed in 1 month. So you should be ready for it if you want to open business in Ukraine. Really. So in November, October, the salary range about senior developers was about $4,500. But from the December, it started dramatically getting up. And now it's the start from $5,000. And if you want to hire a person, it can be 5.5, sometimes 6. Why it's like this? Because last spring, we had like a huge crisis, and a lot of IT specialists even were dismissed. I mean, it was very unusual for IT market. IT market always was on the top. And like Anna said, IT market in Ukraine, it's absolutely different from all other markets like pharma, FMCG, doesn't matter. Like in most countries, it's more or less equal salaries on different markets. But in Ukraine, IT people get much more salaries than other industries, like much more, like double, triple, quadruple. I don't know how to say.
Yes, sometimes that's what we actually sometimes can say.
Yeah, I want to tell you about it to be prepared. And now, so when we had this crisis, right from June, it started like getting better. More vacancies start to open, and from autumn, it starts just like a lot of people from different countries continue to cooperate with Ukrainian programmers, and because of remote work become more popular, a lot of IT developers start to work directly with US and Europe companies. So they don't need like to work on outsourcing like it was before. They just can work directly with IT companies in US. And of course, US rates and sometimes European rates are much higher than Ukrainian ones. And most of our developers, they speak English, and of course, it's more like profitable for them to work directly with this kind of companies. For now, so the IT developers market is big, but only like about 10% are considering new offers. You can imagine that it's only like 10%, and they have like 200 vacancies per one candidate. Can you imagine? 200 vacancies. It's like official statistic of Gini. Gini is one of the websites where you can look in for developers. It was created by Maxim, one of our like big influencer in IT. It's very good site. Actually, I recommend it. I just want to how to say you to be sure that it's not so easy to find developers in Ukraine. I know that Ukraine have good reputation about the IT specialists, and we really have like really good IT specialists, but now it's so high demand it's really difficult to open a big, even a small business. So for example, we specialize in IT from 2010, and we even now don't take clients because we have like some, and there are so high demand because it's impossible, because people they either refuse from offers even they are good, or they ask for like salary which is like much more bigger than their current salary. For example, developer can on his current salary can be like $4,000, yeah, but he doesn't want to consider other offers except it's like $6,000 and it's a situation we like faced every day. So I hope Marina will join us soon.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Okay, great. So you okay, you can continue and tell some words your opinion about it.
So yeah, I can share some opinion on this point about the demand and market. It's so high because new companies come into Ukrainian market each year, and they increases this high demand for developers. And we need to take in account that, for example, some of the engineers, they're not in active search because they have good job with, I don't know, maybe even good compensations and so on. And they are ready to consider only some interesting opportunity that can open some doors for them. For example, new interesting tasks or technologies, to join projects from the early early stage of creating it, or opportunities to work in worldwide famous companies and so on. So to hire an experienced engineer, you need to keep in mind that your employer value proposition should propose them something new and interesting, and something really, really good, because other cases, the salaries is so high, and the market is regulated only by demand. So
only. It's very unusual for other market. I know, guys, believe me. So when I speak with German, Netherlands, our clients, they can't believe in it. So because I understand it's very unusual, but Ukrainian markets, I worked there from 2007 in the IT software market, and it always was regulated only by demand, only. So now, like, how to say, Vilki, Господи, grades and so like a lot of companies in US, you have US companies, they just, wow, they're surprising about it. And Marina, maybe you can say some statistic. It's like real
I have two
from
questions.
our
If you would,
yeah.
Like,
Of
if
course,
you want.
yeah.
Actually, first thing I want to ask, like you said that now you're not taking clients into work. So do you think it's kind of temporary situation and it will change somehow in recent future?
I hope so.
What you're waiting from the market in the recent future, how you maybe have some kind of understanding.
I spoke with my colleague, and she's in IT market too, like quite a long time. And she told me maybe in Ukraine we will have another crisis. Crisis like this, ups and downs. So maybe, in Ukraine, sorry, in autumn we will have another crisis. So you can't, when you live in Ukraine, you can't predict anything. I think otherwise it can be like, I don't want to tell untruths, or I don't want to blah 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 something, so now it's like this, and we need to face a situation like this. So if you have possibility to postpone your hire, like at least like big number of hires, it's better to postpone. Or you can looking for developers, because now remote work is becoming more popular, and a lot of developers, they even don't consider work in the office. So you can looking for people in Poland, in Belarus. Actually, Marina originally from Belarus, and candidates from there are really good. You can find people in south of Spain, and sometimes people from south of Spain, especially Malaga and cities like this, even cheaper than our developers, even plus taxes. So yeah. I don't know how it works, but it works. Ukraine always was very high.
Thank you very much for honesty. I have one more question. Is actually if the guys here today, they still decided to open some kind of business and start this kind of interrupting into Ukrainian market, what would be your recommendation? Where to start? What to do? What first steps to take?
Okay. First start in Kyiv. Or if you consider to work in the office, start in Kyiv, because in Kyiv we have the biggest amount of IT specialists. If you consider like remote work, you can take any specialist from any city, and it can be cheaper, because you can take specialists from small cities, for example, where not so high cost of living like in Kyiv, and you can hire from like Zhytomyr, whatever, so small cities in Ukraine. Yeah, but even there, now like remote work in kind of became a problem, because even people from small cities, they can work directly to US companies too, if they speak English. Well, so but at least you can try, and you should have like strong employment brand. For example, like our company, one of the famous company now in Ukrainian market, like Reface. Everybody wants to work in Reface, of course, and they're really great guys. And when you come to Ukrainian market, you like should do some IT events for IT people to know you, and you need to introduce you like a good brand with strong reputation, with good product, because now they have so many proposals that even offers from company they were interested like 6 months ago. Now they're all not interested at all. So I would consider to see not only on Ukrainian markets, on any market. So not like it doesn't matter which country, I would say. And even if you live in Brazil, I was in Brazil, actually it's my favorite country in South Africa. I spent there 1 month. You have Argentina and you have Chile, and now it's very developing. This country very developing in 82, so I would consider to specialists from there as well. But to do this IT like development circle at 24 hours, of course you can looking for people in Ukraine and Asia and whatever. So just please don't consider only one country. So now you can work with any guys from any country. Just be sure that they meet your demand. Marina, you can tell some like real statistics, for example, front-end developers. I know you have it, and maybe you can add something to mine.
Also can share some statistics about salaries. We made the research based on front-end developer position, and we can say that about 30% of candidates considering salary range from $3,800 to $5,000. About 55% of candidates considering the salary from $5,000 to $7,000. I mean, it's not a salary, which not including taxes, and 14% of candidates are considering salaries in the range between $7,000 to $10,000. So you can understand and you can get the situation from these numbers. It's a bit crazy, even from the point of view from European market, because in Europe taxes are much higher,
lower.
but the salaries is sometimes it's lower. So I can support Viktoriya and tell that if you can consider remote working, it will boost your hiring definitely, because good developers existing all over the world, and all that you need is to find a recruiter or recruitment agency which can find them and contact them and bring them to a table. So remote working really helps here, because good candidates or current employers also trying to retain good candidates and to make them a counteroffer. So that fact is increasing the salary range also.
Exactly. So counteroffers just increased like dramatically now, because it's even cheaper to keep your current employees than to find a new one, because either you need to pay them like bigger salary, you need to like involve them in all the process from the beginning. And what can help if you decide to start to hire in Ukraine, you should like do offers very quickly. So for example, you have an interview, you like the candidate, do offer on an interview. So it's not a joke, guys, unfortunately. So because we just like last week we made the situation when we introduced a candidate, it was like Friday evening, and on Saturday morning he got the offer from another company. So not from our clients, unfortunately. So
I think we have like 3 more minutes, and I would really love to have maybe space for like questions of our like guys. Maybe you want to ask something.
Yeah, we're actually having a lot of discussions here about the prices. Also because we mentioned a few different numbers, right, from the beginning to now. And I'm just mentioning here because when Anna was mentioning in the beginning, it was not only about tech sector, right? So the ranges that she brought was about all different kind of industries. And what Viktoriya mentioned also in the beginning is, yeah, you can easily go 4 to 5 times higher if you're talking about tech companies. And what I also mentioned in this chat is this is a global trend, right? I mean, everywhere in the world, you're having trouble finding developers. And that's just a global movement. And you see countries that were very famous for outsourcing, and Ukraine, of course, is one of them. But then you also have Romania, you have India, for example. They're all following the same path. So they're all reaching global market levels, right?
Yes, sorry, yesterday I had a client who has a branch in India and says it's there are even more competitive markets than in Ukraine. So everybody just crazy about developers now. Like any country, I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. And one question that I have, because also considering we have companies from different stages here, a few of them are a bit more advanced, and then these numbers might make sense for them to keep in mind, but a few of them are also on the starting phase. And I'm also wondering, how do you guys see if, for example, a Brazilian company wants to set up there and find a co-founder, for example, or find a developer, a CTO that can join their team in exchange for equity or other kind of arrangements. Could you maybe elaborate a bit more on that side as well?
Yeah, you can find a CTO and equity become more popular. Unfortunately, Ukrainian law is not like so clear about equity right now. So just because of it, people don't really believe in it, but they strongly support it, of course. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend to start looking for people, but it's not like I wouldn't recommend now to open like a big office for 50, 100 people and expect that it can be that all this vacancy will be closed in 2 months. No, it's like maybe 1 year or 2. I mean, if it will continue like now, it's like 1 year to fill like 100 people. If it's like dropped, maybe it's a bit better. But if you're looking just for one person CTO, I mean, like very important person for your business, yeah, you can start, of course, and we can help you if there are like different products and the company is good. So we really have great guys like with decent level, like CTO, tech leads, and like C-level. And if you need this kind of guys, it's good to look for them in Ukraine. But except Ukraine, you can also look for them in any country you like. I mean, so I just would say that country or any territory now doesn't matter, because what matters that you find a person who will do your work in a good way, like professionally.
Yeah. Now, especially now, everybody's working from home anyway. So
yeah. So so even you know, even if you want to open an office now, all the quarantine, this stuff ups and down. Now we have strict quarantine again, and you will just spend a lot of money on office just for nothing, you know. So we can't predict with Ukrainian government, you can't predict what will be even in the next month, you know. So just don't spend your money on nothing, guys. No.
Okay, Viktoriya and Marina, thank you very much actually for like
thank you very much.
Your experience. I think last thing I guess I would ask you if you're now I heard that you're not open for like taking new clients, but maybe it will change in the future.
Maybe, but
if you can share your contacts in chat, I would also recommend for like our participants today to get in contact with you and actually like continue to discover Ukrainian market.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again. I hope.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Anya.
Anna, before we keep going for the next session, do you mind if I give a few points in Portuguese as well?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Just to round up with everyone, because I think it's very important subject, right? Então, pessoal, vamos lá. Alguns pontos que eu acho que são fundamentais aí, né? Que nem a gente comentou aqui por último, só para mencionar em português também, essa corrida, né, e essa briga por desenvolvedor, ela acontece em qualquer lugar do mundo, né? E é muito legal a gente ver o desenvolvimento de como isso está, né, desenrolando agora na Ucrânia, que sempre foi conhecida por ser, né, um lugar de outsourcing, um lugar com mão de obra muito barata, que isso está se igualando em qualquer lugar do mundo, né? E eu sei que no Brasil é igual. Claro que se a gente está falando de algumas regiões mais do interior, você paga mais barato. Mas se for colocar alguém em São Paulo, for colocar alguém, né, em Porto Alegre, em Curitiba, no Rio, e pegar alguém desse mesmo nível, o salário é praticamente a mesma coisa, né? Então é bem bacana ver isso. Eu acho que é importante a gente levar isso em consideração e até pela própria honestidade, né, que a Viktoriya estava falando, né, algumas coisas importantes, porque obviamente não é, né, a gente está aqui fazendo a missão, obviamente a Ucrânia não é um país que tem 100% de coisas boas, também tem seus desafios, né? Eu acho que é importante a gente levar isso em consideração também, né? E ela comentou ali algumas coisas que eu acho que é importante ressaltar, né? Então essa questão do aumento de salário, essa questão de ter essa briga também por desenvolvedores, né? Apesar de ser um dos grandes diferenciais do país, também por ser o diferencial do país, todo mundo está olhando para lá por conta disso, né? Então é importante mencionar, mas também legal ressaltar o que ela falou ali no final, né? Então, se você não está procurando, né, e eu acho que não é o caso de ninguém aqui, mas contratar 50 pessoas de uma vez, está procurando por um CTO, está procurando por alguém, né, mais estratégico para a empresa, né, você consegue também trazer para a mesa e para a discussão alguns pontos que podem te ajudar a achar esse talento, né, como por exemplo equity, como por exemplo, né, alguns tipos de bônus, outras remunerações. Então, acho que é importante ressaltar isso aí. Em outros mercados, né, que a Ana estava falando antes, você consegue pagar bem mais barato, né? Então, um designer, alguns outros tipos de criativos acabam até sendo um pouco mais competitivo que o preço no Brasil. Mas, enfim, eu só queria, né, reforçar esses pontos aí. Eu acho que é importante a gente, né, colocar isso em mente. Mas vou passar para ela aqui de novo para a gente continuar o papo, né, e dar sequência na sessão. Ana, sorry, just wanted to highlight a few things, but all yours again.
Thank you very much. Yep, I want to move for the next part that we have. I already see Andreas and Vladislav here. So actually, like what we had before is more the overview from my side. I got that's what Rodrigo said again, that my side was about general cross-industry review, and Viktoriya and Marina, it was about totally dev market and tech talents. The next part, I would really love to introduce on the stage those people who are more close to roles that you have. Actually, Andreas is the CEO and founder of Beetroot, one of the tech companies here, and I hope he would share his perspective of actually doing business and having offices in different cities of Ukraine, what it is like, what have changed from the time you started to what is it right now to be doing business in Ukraine. And also Vladislav, I guess that is the guys from PandaDoc, which is Belarus company, and they actually entered Ukrainian market not that a long time ago, so it's more about recent emotions and probably expertise about what is it to open office and take team to Kiev or to like Ukraine right now. So please welcome Vladislav and Andreas.
Thank you very much.
I guess my first question would be to tell your story, like why actually you decided to take Ukraine as your like part of where to build business. I know both of the stories, but I guess I would love you to share with the guys about your story, why Ukraine. Andreas, maybe you would start.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, nice to meet you. Actually, very beautiful Portuguese language. I even got motivated to learn it a bit. But so I'm originally Swedish, but I've been living in Ukraine for almost 9 years already. So like more than half of my grown-up life by now. And it sort of happened so by a sort of combination of, let's say, random factors and but also a sort of attraction of Ukraine. So I started to learn Russian, and I spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe, and then back in universities. I was still a university student when we started the company. I met another Swedish guy who was also running Russian. He was studying in Moscow, and we had this idea that we wanted to set up something in Eastern Europe. We chose the IT industry because it felt like, you know, the most borderless thing, and also an industry where you can give you can create a lot of impact and sort of cross-border relations and so on. So it was really like a big experiment from the beginning. We basically came down, we drove from Russia down to Ukraine in an old Lada, like a Soviet car, and it was all like, you know, big adventure. We were like 24 and 26 years old, and spent the first like year in Ukraine experimenting. And I should say that we were traveling around actually a lot in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Moldova. And we liked all places, but we felt that there was certain things with the Ukrainian, let's say, mindset and also the sort of both objective stuff, but also a lot of subjective feelings that felt that there is something going on. There is a good drive, and there's this slightly more, let's say, European, a little bit like more a drive to integrate and so on. yeah, we ended up here. Like, long story short, we thought it was a adventure in student years. Now it's been 9 years. Beetroot is now 540 people, and we are both an IT outsourcing company, but we also educate. So Beetroot Academy has educated around 1.5% of all the IT specialists in Ukraine, and that we are also actually expanding now to other countries. I don't know, maybe one day in Brazil.
Maybe we'll have the reserve, like the other side of the mission. That's also true. Okay, thank you very much, Andreas. Maybe Vladislav, can you take the word as well?
Hi everyone. So yeah, I'm working in PandaDoc. It's like we have two founders from Belarus, but actually like headquarters in San Francisco and St. Petersburg, Florida, and like around 600 employees currently.
Como que faz e quanto tempo leva?
So we decided to move to Kiev because of the good engineering culture. So, and like, well, one of our biggest offices in Minsk currently. The second one is in St. Petersburg and in San Francisco. But the market is quite narrow, so it is kind of hard to find the best talents in the market. So we were thinking, like, as engineering teams most probably should be quite close to each other. We started to investigate like the markets. We were looking into Poland, Russia, Ukraine, and Portugal, and we decided to move to Portugal. And we decided to open offices both in Portugal and Kiev. So we did it in December. Currently,
can you share your criteria? So what were your criteria why you finally decided to open offices in this like particular countries?
So like a few criteria. First, like if we're talking about Kiev, it's the same close to our culture. So people for engineering, it will be easier to communicate between each other. Plus, as like not all of our engineers has like a brilliant English, and sometimes it will be quite hard to communicate. So this is the first one. The second one is like the Ukrainian market is 4 times bigger according to the talents we want to hire there rather than in Belarus. So it's a new market, great talents. Plus, as we are a product company, so we are not only looking for engineering positions, but also for sales support, like revenue, marketing teams, and so on and so on. And what was very surprising is that actually Ukraine can give you, like, you can really find a great like sales guys, marketing specialists, especially like product marketing managers. And it was quite surprising that there are kind of a lot of product managers. I would say like the Ukrainian market previously was more like outsource based, but for quite a long time, there are a lot of product companies appeared there, such as like Grammarly, Snapchat, PandaDoc, and so on, and even like Ring was bought by Amazon. So there are a lot of people like with very interesting profiles there. Plus, when we were taking into consideration like what markets do we want to open, we were also like thinking about Sweden, as I was like operating on this market too, but it's quite expensive, and Ukrainian market is less expensive. But yeah, it's like 30% more expensive than Belarus and Russia, according to talents. But again, like as for the numbers, for example, we started hiring in Ukraine maybe in November, was fully operated in December, and already hired around like 90 people there. And in this queue, for example, it's not finished yet, but we have like 57 accepted offers. So in Belarus, for example, we have lower numbers, but like we were #1 company here. So Kiev's currently, like the Ukraine in general, shows really great results according to the talent market.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I guess I would change to Andreas also to ask you about the overview of talent. Like, what you feel is competitive for Ukrainian market? What, like, whom to hire? What are the strongest profiles and how to do it? Like, what is your feeling about the talent right now in Ukraine?
Actually, now I have a chance to promote. We just published a report that goes quite deeply into the Ukrainian talent market, which you can find on my LinkedIn or on our site and so on, which is a lot.
I would actually
but I
ask
think
Tanya, I know she's here, maybe she can share the link also in the chat, so like guys can like take it just from our meeting.
cool. No, but in general, I mean, so we compared, so when we started, and this was in 2012, so a lot of things have changed, but we did a very deep, this was my master thesis, we did a deep research basically in all of Eastern Europe. And at the time we sort of concluded that, yeah, Ukraine, based on our analysis, was the place where you could find best sort of combination of cost for talent and like really high level talent. And also scalability, because I think that Russia and Belarus scored similarly, but also the reason why we picked Ukraine was that we felt it was a bit more open, like purely politically, like towards us as Swedes. And I think, you know, and I think you mentioned it a little bit, Vladislav, as well, like what has changed a lot in these like 8-9 years we have been here is that back then it was, to be honest, it was relatively easy to find good tech talent or tech competence, but it was much, let's say, harder to find, for example, sales, marketing, like those sort of less traditional professions for Eastern Europe, and that changed a lot. I think the sort of now it's much, there are much more experienced people who has from account management, from sales and marketing. So we actually we do outsourcing jobs where we help for Swedish clients to hire sales and marketing people, and that would have been quite strange almost like 6-7 years ago, and now it's like completely normal. And I would also say that there's a huge change. Yes, there are a lot of more like product companies coming up, and I think the growth of the entrepreneurial talent in the country is also growing very quickly. So that's really exciting to see. So it's transforming. I mean, the IT industry in Ukraine is sort of helping transform the whole society, and it spills over in other areas. Did I answer the whole question, or there was some more part of it?
I guess that's it. Yep, I'm also asking about the profile of people, but I have a lot of more questions. Maybe I would like give the space for our participants just to ask somebody like some questions from those who are actually doing business in Ukraine.
Yeah, I think if they pop in the chat, then I'll make sure that I ask them as well.
Okay, so guys, just please take your time for ask questions, because I guess we have like half an hour more, but still I don't want to take all the time. But I will then return to the guys with my question. Actually, Vladislav, I have a question for you, because you told that you are quite successful in getting offers and finding people to your team. I would ask here, like, what would be your like recipe for success, and what is their place of employer brand in those success you have to hire those people? So what actually you're doing to promote? How are you looking for people? Do you using some kind of platforms, agencies? What are the instruments that help you to find your teammates?
Well, I think that in general, like it's not about like Ukraine, why a company can succeed. It's about the processes it has, the people it has, culture, and what challenges do it have. So like the PandaDoc is like second year is the best employer of the world. Like, yeah, we have 100 position or something like that, but we are competing with the whole world. So in general, like it's more easier for us because we have, like, I wouldn't say that we have a brand in Ukraine market especially, but we know what we cost, and we're quite good in that, like in selling what do we have and so on. And like we're not selling what we don't have. As for the like in general, like it's just like when you come into a new market, same with Portugal, same with United States, same with Kiev, you have to understand what are the, like, depending on whom you're looking for. If we're talking about like IT specialists, then Ukraine, we're coming to like the like most relevant like sites and resources, like Dole, for example, or LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn works everywhere. Ain and so on, like Genie. And we're not like overselling. We're not selling what we don't have, or like we're telling like our story. That's first. The second, how to attract talents, is like having a good recruitment team. So, and it's not only about recruitment team, but also how you interview, because anyway, like almost in all markets, maybe except like United States, like especially like closed markets, not when you have like millions and millions, hundreds of millions people living there, the word of mouth is working. So the better you have the interview process, the better you give feedback to your potential candidates, to those candidates who didn't pass interview process and so on. The more responsible you to them and responsive, the better then they recommend you. Because in the beginning, like we were spent almost like 2 months and hired around like 7-10 people, but then referrals started working. And one more thing that was kind of very interesting for me, because for example in Belarus, marketing campaigns doesn't really work for recruitment talents, and in Kiev it actually does. So when you're running like few recruitment campaigns, like retargeting, putting some pixels into the web pages you are sharing, and so on, it really helpful. But again, like if we are looking into the metrics, I think that the very healthy metrics will look like a half of people you are hiring from outbound, and another half, like it will be a mixture of recruitment, like of referrals and inbound. And in Ukraine we are doing that great, because in Belarus, for example, we were like around like 70% of candidates, it was the candidates who was found by recruiters, not those who come as applicants. So that's also like, that's inspiring, because I'm really very interested in how it will go.
Mm-hmm. There is actually a question. Yeah, Rodrigo.
Yeah, no, sorry, I had one that came to my private box first. Do you mind if I, just to respect the line. A very simple question, actually. But Felipe is asking if we can have the contact of everyone, so they can also get in touch and get this help on a one-on-one basis.
Actually, ask the girls to share contact. I'm not sure that they have done, but if no, I would share their contacts afterwards. And Vladislav, Andreas, I would also really love if you could just share your contact afterwards in the chat. Yep. So the other question, would be Rodrigo,
no, that's it. I just got another one in the private, but you go first.
Okay, the mine is just in the public chat, and it's about Google Developers Group. So do you actually use this kind of community to work with and hire like dev people?
I mean, we actually don't use specifically Google Developers Group, but a little bit to add up on what Vladislav said before, we have been working a lot with building communities of different tech stacks, so sort of creating valuable content in different areas, and that's sort of course, like building an interest. And the other part, like I think extremely important, is to sort of be true to your cause and your values, because on the one hand, like we are a outsourcing company, like offering services very similar to other outsourcing companies, but on top of that, we have this mission, which is that we want to use this as a tool to create as much like social impact as possible in the society. And for us, that's a very big attraction point. Like people actually come because of this and because of the sort of flat trust-based culture, which is a little bit untraditional in a very decentralized, self-managed way. So that's sort of like finding, I guess it's like in a way like finding your niche, attracting your people. Probably the same truth everywhere, but it works in Ukraine as well.
Together with that, I think you have really this unique part when you decided to teach your own talent. So I would really love you to tell more about the Beetroot Academy and how many people you're actually hiring from there, and what is your like more putting stress on growing your own talent or hiring like middle or senior experts outside. So how you actually like doing with this pipeline management right now?
Yeah, so I mean, actually, the academy is of course we are also hiring people from the academy, but in a sense we grow people for the whole market. So the graduates like from last year around like 2,000 graduates of these 4-month bootcamp courses. Nowadays online, it used to be offline, but it's like active learning online, and 70% employment rate. So people who are not in IT, in 4 months they get an education, 70% of them enter the IT industry afterwards. And it's actually, I mean, we hire, so 70% of them gets employed in IT. Last year, around 200 different companies. We hire 5% of them. So we are not able to absorb the amount of talent. We are actually the biggest IT educational activity in Ukraine connected to an IT company, but we are only able to absorb a certain amount of it. But on the other hand, I mean, these people, they go out in the ecosystem, they get experience. I think last year we also had a trend that we hired a lot of people who studied in our academy like 3, 4, 5 years ago. So it definitely creates this sort of ecosystem synergy effects for sure.
Thank you. Rodrigo, nice. There was a question, I remember.
Yeah, it's a bit less about the hiring part, but a bit more about the business side. And the question is, as a foreign entrepreneur, what were the main challenges when coming to Ukraine and working in Ukraine?
Is it about like legal part or what?
Main challenges. It can be legal, it can be market, it can be.
Well, like the main challenge is that it's still a like post-Soviet Union legal system there. Yeah, they have like e-signatures and so on, but it's much more easier rather than in Belarus. The system in general like is more flexible. The main challenge is finding a very good like financial director to start with, because without it, like we were trying to work with 2 outsourced companies who decided to provide us like some legal help, and what we found that like we were trying to relocate around like 20-30 people from Minsk to Ukraine, and everything was done wrong. So like some of the people even sell their houses and cars, deciding like to move from Belarus to live in Ukraine, and then like we were trying to like force march everything and do it by ourselves. Then we just hired a very strong like operational director. Just take somebody from big 4, and that's it. Like preferably with a leader in the title, and that's what really help. As for the like recruitment, just hire a very good recruiter. There are like few companies. It's hard to find one, because I was hiring. I spent like around 2 months to hire a very senior person. In general, like the market is very challenging. There are a lot of companies coming right now in Ukraine. A lot of companies coming, even from Belarus. Like there are around like 3 companies that open offices, like Luft, for example. I know that's an American company, but still they have a very big R&D center here in Minsk. So there will be challenges. So before going to this market, you have to understand what is your, in general, like how strong and attractive your brand is, and how strong your team. Because moving to another market is a big effort. You have to you have your management, like C-level, VP level, and whatever, being very aligned and understand what the challenges you most probably will face. But again, like it's not so hard as it looks like.
I can maybe add from maybe from a Swedish perspective. So I tell this like a sort of a negative anecdote when I try to push more Swedish entrepreneurs to come to Ukraine. But we are around 30 Swedish entrepreneurs in Ukraine, and around 150 Swedes in the country in total, which is like nothing. While we are at around, I think, like 30,000 people in London. And for me, this doesn't make any sense, because I mean, obviously Ukraine is a country and a place of much more opportunity than London, no offense. But I think that the reason why that is, and that's related to the challenges, is that, I mean, Sweden is a very sort of planning nation. You want to be everything to be very predictable and so on and so forth. And in Ukraine, a lot of things are not always so predictable. Like, for example, laws can change very quickly. There can be, some different political turbulences and so on. So I think that, I mean, that's one of the challenge. Well, I mean, one part of it is the real challenge of it, but I think almost as much is the challenge of how to relate to that. Yeah, and so I mean, if you relate to that challenge as something interesting in life, and also something that in a way, that unpredictability is also a little bit like part of the opportunity, because it means that it's not that easy. And it also means that when it's not that easy, then there are not so many who are going to do it. And in the end of the day, I mean, I don't see how like I would have realistically built the company in Sweden as fast as we have built it in Ukraine, like not even close. I mean, we have an office in Sweden, it's 10 people, and we are 530 in Ukraine. I think that basically says where at least we see the big potential. Despite, of course, like 60% of our clients are from Sweden, but anyway. Yeah, so this sort of dynamic unpredictability, you can see it as a problem, you can see it as an opportunity. I don't know how that is in relation to Brazil. I don't know enough about Brazil, but
I guess here I would can I also add and actually ask you one more question, Andreas, here about the first step you would take. So if you want to open business in Ukraine, that's what like Vladislav said from his part, his opinion, what would be your recommendation, like the first step to take if you want to open office in Ukraine?
I think it depends on what you want to do. I mean, because what we did, I don't know if that's what I would recommend to do. I'm very happy that we did it, because what we did, we just moved here and we like put all of our life here, like tried to learn the culture, the language, and so on. And that was extremely fun. And we did that when we were like students and 24, and we didn't have anything to lose or anything. It was just an adventure. You don't have to do it that way. I think that gave us certain sort of long-term attachment to this place and so on. But I think that, I mean, by now there is like so many talented Ukrainians who you can do business with. So I would maybe try to find a local, like someone who is of a similar mindset, but maybe not first, like maybe not take the sort of the first like scrapping on the surface, but actually still like spend some time here, go deep, hang out in the startup hubs or whatever, like really try to get a little bit closer to the culture, and then I think you will find the right people just as anyway, because there are a lot of, I think if you are a little bit like a blind foreign entrepreneur who like walks in here, there is still like this sort of, I don't know, different organizations that will try to help you, but they are not really that helpful. Like try to like go one level closer, like find this sort of personal connection to people locally. I think that's probably a general advice for anywhere you go in the world. It's true for Ukraine as well.
Rodrigo, you had something to ask?
Yeah, but I think Vladislav would build on top of that, so I'll just hold my fire.
Yeah, I agree with Andreas. In general, like it depends from what's your business, like what your business need. If you need to open another office when everything is functioning, then this is one story. If you wanted to start business here, then that's a different story. So that's about the question like you have and the business need. There was a question like how engaged are developers in Ukraine, and are the hackathons, dev events very often? Well, it's like a pandemic situation right now, and there are less of them. I'm not still like super familiar with the market because I'm still learning, and I will be learning for quite a long time, I suppose. But yeah, there are a lot of. You just can simply run to DO and watch like what's in the nearest time will be happening. There are a lot of them. I was thinking that in Belarus there are a lot, but in Kiev it's much more. And in general, like like it's everywhere that you have like a very good talents. You need to look for them. You have like not the best talents, and most probably if you don't even want to find them, you will find them. But like the community is quite strong.
I think
hackathons, like it's like a lot, like it's dozens per week, and even one of the biggest, for example, marketing events is happening in Kiev, and there are like in general, like the whole Europe is going there because we were speaking in this event, and there was around like 2,000 plus people there from very like good brands like Pipedrive, Mapbox, and so on and so on. So
I think that you would.
It's not.
I think you would probably be able to spend like 100% of your time and more on just going to different events here, and you will still not manage to go to all of them. Although, I mean, I think it's still a relatively small percentage that is in English, but it's increasing.
Yep, actually, I can also comment on that, this kind of online events that we're having right now, they are also boosting. So also we have still in Ukraine this kind of huge events which are like well known as iForum and Lviv Arena and so on. But now they're also like living in the challenging state where we don't know where to go and how to make it offline, online in this new world paradigm which we are now. But this kind of online hackathons and other type of events are quite regular, and I would also return to the words which Viktoriya said, that starting to make some kind of events, getting to know their like this market and getting the market know you and your company. That's probably my point of view, what I would recommend to start with, just getting to know the people here. That's what said Andreas, but also giving the market some information about you, building employer brand, some information about the company, some info where they can Google and find something about your company. And maybe even I would put a part of advertisement here that we are, as my team, are working also with like helping companies to build their employer brand in Ukraine, making the career pages, making events, and trying to and helping with hackathon organizations. So if you would love to do something like that, I would be really happy with my team to help you and support you in Ukrainian market, building the employer brand in Ukrainian market.
I wanted to add one more thing. Was also quite surprising. As for the managers, like there are a lot of very good managers. We were able to close a director of engineering position and 2 engineering managers in 3 weeks. When in general, like in Belarus, like director of engineering is the position to be closed for 4 or 5 months. That was very surprising. And like we are talking here about like knowing the market. But what I would recommend, if like you don't have a lot of time, is to go and like to talk with the leaders of the market, because they are talking less and very concrete. So I don't know, like I have a few people in the with whom like you can talk, I suppose. And you can just like drop a line to the products you know, and try to talk with their leaders. I think that will be the easiest way. I do the same with the hiring. I just like drop a few words to Grammarly and so on and so on.
I think if someone is interested, even by dropping a few lines to Anya, Vladislav, and myself, and saying what you're looking for, I think we can even like help you to find the network, and you will be very quickly find the right people.
That's also true. Rodrigo, if there are some questions from guys, like welcome. If no, I have one more.
There's a big comment from Ronaldo, but mentioning about his experience of organizing events, but no question to me at the moment. No.
I actually wanted to ask, maybe just returning to the things that Vladislav said about the head of like tech part. Like, what is your model of like salary, bonuses, how you actually hire, and what is the main motivation for people that you're hiring? How you're making this system of reward and recognition for them?
That's the question. Yeah. So for Vladislav or for me?
Yeah, both of you, definitely. I'm interested to know.
No, I mean, it's definitely a very competitive market. I mean, in terms of there is a sort of push and constant. I mean, a good developer always gets a couple of messages per week on LinkedIn and so on. So of course, the money aspect is one thing, but I don't think it's the most expensive, in the sense that if you're a good developer here, like the average salary in IT is around 5 times higher than the average salary in the country. And of course, when you reach these levels, when you have a very like high and good living standard, at least, I mean, the people that we are looking for is also people who start to value other things in life. And we've seen, I mean, I think that, I mean, people value, of course, the usual thing, interesting things to work with, feeling that there is a value and impact in what you do, having good colleagues and working environment around you, flexible work life and trust level. I think all the normal things. And again, like what we have been doing is to push a little bit. I mean, I think we are trying to take this spot that we are really attractive for those people, like those who really care about the impact, sort of societal impact of things, like teaching in the academy and like doing all kinds of things. I think that works for us, but it maybe doesn't like correspond to the biggest interest of everyone in the industry, but to a certain category, I think.
Thank you, Andreas. Vladislav?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, I'm just asking about your reward and recognition model. So what, like, you're giving your, like, those people who are hiring, except of the salary, maybe there are some kind of, I don't know, bonus system, options, or what something like that? Well,
like, it depends from the position. The company is quite big right now. Like 600 employees is not so big, but we don't have a lot of stock options. So like we're given, like in general, we're giving stock options only from like director level and higher currently. Maybe we'll change something. As for the, like, it depends from the position. If it's a revenue team, then definitely their mainly compensation is built on variable they're earning. If it's engineering, then it's like 90%, 95% is base, and then it's just like some kind of bonuses. But like in general, it's base salary. As for the like benefits, you just need to take the market one. What the market, like, what you need to understand with whom you will be competing. Understanding that, like, you will understand what should you offer.
I think I mean, so maybe someone mentioned this, maybe not, but there's this bit of a special legal situation in the IT industry. So most companies work with individual entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I told you about it at the beginning.
You told it, okay, yeah. But which basically means that there is no sort of legally based benefit system. But there is still, of course, an expectations from the individuals. What happens is that every company builds their own social benefit system. And I think the standard things that most serious companies have is sort of paid vacation, some insurance, some kind of like career development bonuses, some sort of sport support. Like there can be a long list
as well.
Yeah, education, yeah, career, yeah, exactly. So yeah, and of course there's always things to experiment in that.
Yeah, but you can, but you have some like solutions how you can do that. Even if you're working with individual entrepreneurs, for example, you just can add like, as for example, we have the digital nomad system, like to let our employees to work from anywhere, and we are adding to their to their base salary. We're talking about net salary right now. In general, like we are moved all the communication in the company in gross. You will hear, if you will come to Ukraine, you will hear a lot about net and so on, and that's all needed to be changed because of again, like everything could change from taxes and so on. So we're just adding 2,000 United States dollars gross per year for social benefits separately, and that's legally what could be easily done. Just like we are separated in our offer. As for the, like, for example, we also can provide like the legal support from our from the legal who will be supporting your individual entrepreneur status and so on. So there are ways how to do that. The only thing you need to have a very strong, reliable person who will help you not to do something wrong.
But it's actually very cool in a way, this system, because we are working in Swedish legislation as well. There you have like 100,000 different rules and exemptions and so on. It's like super complicated. And here it's like, in the base, it's super simple. And then you just build however you want to build it on top of that and what makes sense for you and your team and so on. So in that sense, it's pretty cool.
Okay, Rodrigo,
and
if you need
also
to...
quite good, 5%. I mean,
for this kind of individual entrepreneurship type, yeah, right. That's why actually everyone is taking this into consideration. That's right. Vladislav, Andreas, I guess I just want to say thank you. I know that there were questions, could I be valuable and give valuable information? You definitely did. So from my side, thank you very much. Rodrigo, I know that you maybe have say something in Portuguese and sum up. So I'm giving the word to you. I won't understand anything, but it would sound beautifully.
Yeah, no, I do indeed. But first of all, in English, of course, I want to thank all of you. So not only the three of you, but also the two girls that I think already left, right? So Viktoriya,
yeah,
they already left. But thank you very much for setting everything up. Definitely very interesting to learn more about how the talent market is working, what are the things happening in Ukraine, and how you guys are also handling this. And more than that, to get your insights, right? I mean, you have both experience how it is to come from another place, to build a team, to grow the business there. And experiencing firsthand this discussion with the different developers and companies, right? So very interesting, definitely very valuable. Thank you very much for being here. Anna, thank you very much for setting everything up. Same for Kirill. I know that a lot of people are asking there about contacts and everything, so I'm sure you brought all
yeah,
of
we
this
shared
here.
everything in the chat.
But I'm also sharing every day an email after our meetings, and also sharing the contact details. So make sure that I put that on the presentation or the email as well. Yeah, and then everybody has access to you guys. So thank you very much. And I'll just say something in Portuguese, but if you guys want to say a few last words, maybe that's the time, and then I'll change.
Yeah, thank you. Hope it was useful, and hope to see at least some of you in Ukraine at some point.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so Português now. Eu preciso trocar a chavinha aqui. Aí, pronto. Gente, de novo, muito obrigado por participarem aí. Eu acho que, né, enfim, a gente, desde o começo, se vocês forem até ver no site o que vocês foram procurar da Ucrânia, né, talento sempre é uma das primeiras palavras que aparecem. Né? Então, acho que é muito bacana a gente ter esse overview aí com quem está no mercado, né? Quebrar um pouco, talvez, da imagem, né, perfeita que a gente vê e realmente ter com quem está experienciando isso no dia a dia. Né? Então, falar de dinheiro, falar quanto que está pagando, onde que você vai achar gente, como que a gente pode ter uns atalhos para achar, né, pessoas que podem beneficiar vocês aí, do desenvolvimento da empresa de vocês de alguma maneira. Então, informações realmente bem valiosas. Outra coisa que eu queria destacar, né, que eu acho que foi bem legal da fala dos dois aqui, que tem uma empresa lá, né, que são as dificuldades e um pouco dos caminhos que eles usaram para entrar na Ucrânia. Né? Então, claro, a gente teve o Andreas, que foi um pouco mais, digamos assim, mais intenso, né? Se mudou, pegou tudo, foi para lá, né? Começou a vida dele de novo. Mas é muito legal e importante você ver o quanto os dois usaram a proximidade com o mercado. Né? Então, ter alguém ali que você pode ou confiar, ou você mesmo ter ido, né, ir para a Ucrânia, ou ir para o lugar que você quer expandir para conhecer mais sobre a cultura, para se conectar com as pessoas, né, para entender como funciona a dinâmica do mercado, entender o que muda para você, né, do seu mercado brasileiro para o mercado ucraniano, e a partir dali você começar a trabalhar uma estratégia para entrar, né, de fato, e conseguir os primeiros clientes, enfim, abrir um escritório, seja o que vocês estiverem buscando. Né? Então, eu queria deixar como highlight esses pontos aí, né, e, de novo, todos eles se disporam aí a ajudar vocês, né, então, se vocês tiverem interesse de, né, enfim, saber um pouco mais sobre o que eles falaram, entender como que eles podem ajudar, né, eu tenho certeza que os três, inclusive a Ana, o Kirill também, né, estão aí dispostos para receber vocês de braços abertos aí com o que vocês precisarem. Por hoje é isso, amanhã a gente se encontra de novo, a gente tem mais 2 dias aí, né, um dia amanhã que eu acho que é interessante para todo mundo, que é o dia do dinheiro, que é, acho que um dos principais, né, todo mundo quer saber como levantar dinheiro, né, quais são as possibilidades, quem são os principais VCs do mercado ucraniano, né, então acho que pode ser bem bacana. E o último dia, que eu estou vendo que tem milhares de perguntas aí acontecendo, que a gente vai falar da parte mais burocrática. Né? Então a gente vai falar de visto, a gente vai falar da parte de abertura de empresa, a gente vai falar de contratação, a gente vai falar de imposto, enfim. São assuntos talvez menos sexys, né? Eu colocaria essa conotação aí, mas extremamente importantes também para vocês se planejarem para dar esse próximo passo, né? Então, encontro vocês amanhã. E se tiverem alguma dúvida, vocês sabem onde me encontrar. Me mandem um e-mail aí, mandem uma mensagem, eu estou aqui para vocês, tá bom? Again, in English, just to say goodbye one more time. Anna, Kirill, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye, people. Vou fechar aqui, não tem bastante gente. Fabiano, bom te ver. Te vejo aqui amanhã de novo.
Certo. Nos vemos amanhã de novo. Um abraço. Valeu. Show de
Maravilha. Até
bola.
amanhã. Tchau, tchau, gente.
Tchau.